11,600 years ago, before writing, before agriculture, before the wheel, someone carved 50-ton stone pillars into precise formations and buried them underground. The site is Gobekli Tepe. It predates every known civilization by millennia. Across the ocean, lines etched into a Peruvian desert only make sense from the sky. In 2004, U.S. Navy pilots tracked an object that defied known aerodynamics, and the Pentagon confirmed the footage was real. The UFO mystery may reach far deeper into human history than any modern sighting suggests. Encoded in stone, myth, and monuments, we still can't fully explain. But reading that ancient record demands something most investigations skip entirely. When modern eyes look at ancient texts, we often project our own technological reality onto the past. A fiery chariot descending from the heavens easily looks like a rocket propulsion system to a modern reader. Yet, to a scribe living thousands of years ago, such imagery was the primary way to describe the terrifying majesty of the divine. Ancient societies lacked the scientific vocabulary to describe unexplained aerial occurrences, relying instead on the language of gods, omens, and spirits. Every culture translates the unexplained through its own local lens. An unknown light in the night sky became a warning of a fallen dynasty in one region and a benevolent deity in another, depending entirely on when and where the witness stood. This translation of physical events into religious symbols creates a thick layer of historical ambiguity. We cannot simply treat ancient testimony as a literal flight log. This raises a fundamental question as we examine the dawn of human civilization. How do we separate genuine physical phenomena from religious metaphor? Age alone does not make an account true. A clay tablet inscribed 3,000 years ago can easily be a work of creative fiction, a political exaggeration, or a highly embellished myth. To evaluate these claims, we must weigh written accounts against hard archaeological facts rather than letting speculation fill the gaps. While stories about the sky are easily rewritten, physical structures on the ground offer a more durable form of testimony. Heavy stone ruins do not lie, though they require careful decoding. By shifting our focus from subjective mythologies to the tangible reality of ancient engineering, the investigation moves from what people claim to see to what they physically built. This requires a strict standard of proof. We have to examine the tools recovered from the dirt, calculate the weight of the monoliths, and estimate the human hours required to transport them. Only when physical archaeology fails to explain a site can we legitimately look to the stars for answers. Did these early architects possess knowledge that bypassed the natural progression of human technology? Could humanity's origins be tied to an extraterrestrial presence that actively guided our development? If so, what was the purpose behind this contact? To explore these possibilities, we must bypass speculation and look directly at the stone records left behind, beginning with the very first builders. In 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt recognized a series of unusual stone curves peeking through the dusty soil of southeastern Turkey. What his team unearthed over the following decades at Gobekli Tepe completely challenged the established timeline of human development. Nestled on a limestone ridge, the site dates back to between 9,600 BCE and 8,200 BCE, a time when humans were believed to be nomadic hunter-gatherers, living long before the invention of agriculture, metal tools, or writing. Yet, there they stand, massive, T-shaped limestone pillars, some reaching 5.5 meters high and weighing up to 50 tons. Many are carved with realistic reliefs of foxes, boars, and predatory birds. How could a society without draft animals, wheels, or bronze chisels quarry, transport, and erect these heavy structures? For some, the sheer scale of the engineering suggests a level of technology so advanced that it could only have been gifted by visitors from the stars. Did an extraterrestrial presence guide these ancient hands to seed the first human achievements? To explore these questions, Researchers from the German Archaeological Institute have focused on the physical evidence left in the soil. Geological surveys reveal that the limestone was quarried from outcrops just a few hundred meters away. Experimental archaeology has since demonstrated that prehistoric workers using simple flint hammerstones, wooden levers, and sledges on packed earth could split, carve, and move these stones without advanced machinery. In addition, geometric analyses of 3 major enclosures reveal a highly coordinated triangular layout, suggesting careful architectural planning before any stones were placed. Calculations suggest that building a single circular enclosure required roughly 10,000 hours of physical labor, a task within the reach of regional hunter-gatherers pooling their resources for seasonal gatherings. But then, around 8000 BCE, the builders did something unexpected. They deliberately backfilled the entire sanctuary with dirt and stone, burying their creation intact. Was this deliberate burial a way to preserve a sacred space, or were they hiding something? While the scale of Gobekli Tepe invites extraordinary theories of alien intervention, the physical evidence reveals the power of human organization, showing that what seems impossible to us today may simply be an ancient human capability we do not yet understand. This gap between what we observe and what we understand widened as human societies began to write. In the clay tablets of ancient Mesopotamia, modern eyes often search for cosmic blueprints. The Babylonian creation epic, the Enuma Elish, and tales of the Anunnaki deities have been recast by writers like Zecharia Sitchin as historical accounts of alien geneticists arriving from a rogue planet. Yet, language scholars pointing to cuneiform dictionaries find a different reality. These texts are mythic literature, written in the symbolic, religious grammar of their time. The cylinder seals used to stamp administrative clay show deities and processional scenes representing political and religious power, not aeronautical schematics. Treating these ancient metaphors as literal flight logs ignores the rich cultural context of the first literate civilizations. A similar pattern of overreading occurs when looking at physical monuments. On the Giza Plateau, the Great Pyramid, constructed around 2580 BCE, stands as a lightning rod for extraordinary theories. Speculative claims argue that its precise astronomical alignment and massive scale require non-human technology. Yet, the physical evidence left in the Egyptian sand tells a story of unmatched human organization. Mainstream engineering analyses and laser scans show that the pyramid was built within a 20-year window using a hybrid ramp system, a rotating force of roughly 20,000 skilled laborers supported by state-run bakeries and on-site medical care, quarried and moved the 2.3 million limestone blocks. The marks left by the masons themselves track how seasonal work crews were organized under a highly structured state administration. Precision in stone does not automatically equal non-human intervention. The tools recovered from Giza, copper chisels, wooden levers, and wet sand sledges show that Bronze Age builders achieved incredible tolerances through patience, observation, and massive human cooperation. The true mystery may not be where the knowledge came from, but how ancient states managed to organize thousands of minds and muscles to achieve what seems impossible today. By replacing the real sweat of ancient workers with extraterrestrial intervention, do we risk erasing one of humanity's greatest engineering triumphs? If massive stone monuments challenge our modern imagination, the desert plains of southern Peru shift the entire debate to a matter of perspective. Carved into the arid pampa between 200 BCE and 600 CE, the Nazca lines stretch for miles. Massive geoglyphs of spiders, monkeys, and straight lines run across the soil, visible in their entirety only from high above. This stark aerial view has led many to ask, were these designs meant to be seen by travelers from another world? Did ancient people construct these patterns as landing strips for extraterrestrial craft? When we look at the soil, the physical reality tells a different story. The lines are actually shallow trenches, just 10 to 30 centimeters deep, made by clearing away dark stones to expose the lighter clay underneath. High-resolution drone mapping and archaeological surveys suggest these patterns functioned as ceremonial walking paths, water-related ritual sites, and agricultural calendars. The sheer scale creates an illusion of technological impossibility, but the tools required were simple wooden stakes and coordination. This same pattern of marvel and skepticism recurs at massive stone structures globally. In Lebanon, the colossal trilithon blocks of Baalbek weigh hundreds of tons, inspiring theories of alien engineering. Yet geological evidence shows these stones were quarried nearby and moved using rollers, levers, and coordinated labor. On Easter Island, the towering Moai statues are now known to have been carved from local volcanic tuff and moved into place using ropes and human muscle. In India, the megaliths of Telangana tell a similar story of local quarrying. The spectacle of scale is not the same as proof of alien intervention. Why are we so quick to attribute these feats to the stars? Could these global monuments represent a hidden chapter of human capability, or does our past hold a deeper, unexplained connection to the cosmos? If physical ruins leave room for architectural debate, ancient writings invite an even more delicate form of translation. In the sacred Sanskrit texts of India, readers often find descriptions of vimanas, portrayed in the Rig Veda and the Ramayana as soaring, multi-tiered aerial palaces. The famous Pushpaka Vimana is depicted traveling through the clouds, propelled by divine will. Modern proponents of ancient visitor theories point to a text called the Vaimanika Shastra, claiming it contains detailed propulsion physics and mercury vortex engines. Yet, historical analysis reveals this manual is a 20th century composition, not a genuine Vedic artifact. Scholars of classical Indology view the original scriptural Vimanas as poetic metaphors for the mobile power of the gods, rather than ancient flying machines. This tendency to translate religious experiences into technological terms also shapes how we read the Hebrew Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, a vision of a fiery whirlwind and a wheel within a wheel is frequently interpreted as a close encounter with a physical spacecraft. Within biblical scholarship and the later tradition of Merkabah mysticism, these wheels are understood as theological symbols of divine omniscience and mobility, written in the standard prophetic language of the ancient Near East, rather than engineering schematics. When we look at cultural anthropology, the danger of modern projection becomes even clearer. In Mali, French anthropologists Marcel Griol and Germaine Dieterlen reported that the Dogon people possess secret knowledge of the invisible star, Sirius B. However, later field investigations by researchers like Walter van Beek reveal significant methodological flaws. The Dogon informants had likely integrated astronomical details shared by previous Western visitors, including missionaries and Griol himself. These fragile claims illustrate how easily historical texts can be bent to fit modern expectations. Without physical hardware, written metaphors remain a reflection of human imagination. To find definitive proof of an intelligence in our skies, the investigation must leave ancient symbols behind and look to the modern era, where eyewitness accounts are backed by hard military sensor data. On November 14, 2004, about 100 miles off the coast of Southern California, operators aboard the guided missile cruiser USS Princeton tracked multiple unidentified objects on radar. The ship's advanced radar systems had spent days observing these targets as they descended from above 80,000 feet straight down to the ocean surface in a fraction of a second, a feat that would subject any human occupant to hundreds of G-forces. Two FA-18F Super Hornets from the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, piloted by Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Alex Dietrich, were diverted from a routine training exercise to investigate. What they found was an object that challenged their flight training. Fravor described a smooth, white, oblong craft, roughly 40 feet long, resembling a tic-tac. The object was similar in size to a standard fighter jet, but operated with a maneuverability that defied their understanding of flight physics. It hovered just above the ocean, causing the water below to churn. The craft possessed no wings, no traditional control surfaces, and no visible exhaust or propulsion. When Fravor descended to get a closer look, the object mirrored his flight path before accelerating at an extreme velocity and vanishing. Within a minute, the Princeton's radar reacquired the target 60 miles away at the pilot's scheduled rendezvous point, moving at speeds estimated to exceed thousands of miles per hour. This encounter changed the conversation around unidentified aerial events. These were not civilian accounts or late-night illusions. The observers were military aviators trained to identify foreign aircraft under pressure. Their visual testimonies were supported by advanced military sensors. The visual record was captured by the ANASQ-228 Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared System on another Super Hornet. The resulting video, known as FLIR-1, showed a featureless target hovering before zipping off screen at incredible speed, tracking the physical reality of the craft. Yet, while the physical evidence and witness testimony confirm a real event occurred in restricted airspace, unresolved does not mean extraterrestrial. Advanced sensor errors, classified domestic testing, or unacknowledged foreign technology remain plausible explanations. True scientific investigation requires eliminating every terrestrial possibility before turning to the stars. The government's eventual release of these files confirmed the authenticity of the sensor data, but left the origin of the craft an open question. Both pilots have maintained a consistent, careful account of the event, avoiding wild speculation while insisting that the technology they witnessed surpassed our known capabilities. But the Nimitz encounter reopened the larger questions about what is operating in our skies. If our most advanced defensive networks and elite pilots cannot identify these objects, the phenomenon cannot be easily ignored. Why has the government kept decades of military unidentified aerial phenomena records classified? Could these modern encounters be connected to the ancient anomalies carved into stone and clay? If an advanced intelligence has interacted with humanity, what is their purpose? The search for answers has moved from the sphere of belief to the standard of military sensor data, leaving us to investigate whether these modern sightings represent a newly discovered technology or a persistent presence that has watched our civilization develop from the very beginning. Between 2017 and 2021, the physical record of the UFO phenomenon shifted permanently from speculative folklore to verified military documentation. The Department of Defense formally declassified and released 3 Navy videos, transferring the debate from late-night radio shows directly to the halls of Congress. This move marked the beginning of a document-based investigation where the central questions were no longer about whether these objects existed, but what they represented. The official release of these files established an important baseline. The recorded material is genuine. When the Pentagon verified the authenticity of the FLIR-1, gimbal, and Go Fast videos, it was not an endorsement of the extraterrestrial hypothesis, but an acknowledgement of a physical reality. The objects captured on film were physical anomalies operating within restricted military airspace. For the first time, researchers and the public were dealing with raw data that had bypassed the vulnerabilities of human memory. In this analytical phase, the standard of proof relies entirely on source transparency. Rumors and uncorroborated eyewitness claims carry little weight compared to metadata, sensor calibration, and an unbroken chain of custody. When a fighter jet's targeting system tracks a target, the resulting data is preserved with precise timestamps, GPS coordinates, and system diagnostics. This forensic trail allows analysts to rule out digital manipulation, instrument errors, or simple camera glare. For investigators, the origin of the video files is as important as the pixels themselves. Without a verifiable transfer record, Even the most spectacular footage is scientifically useless. By focusing on how these files were captured, transferred, and archived, investigators can treat the videos as physical exhibits rather than subjective experiences. Yet, establishing that a video is authentic is only the first step. A clear distinction exists between verifying the evidence and interpreting its meaning. While the sensor data proves that highly anomalous objects are maneuvering in our atmosphere, it does not explain their origin. Are these systems highly advanced, classified terrestrial technologies, or do they represent something far older, operating just on the periphery of human awareness? This official acknowledgement has forced a restructuring of government bureaucracy. Internal memos, once locked in classified vaults, reveal a complex network of interagency task forces, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, and eventually the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office show that the military has quietly tracked these anomalies through official paperwork for years. As these groups catalog hundreds of military encounters, they face a persistent barrier of classification. Why does so much of this data remain hidden behind national security barriers? If these objects are merely weather balloons, radar glitches, or foreign drones, the level of classification surrounding them seems disproportionate. Could the secrecy itself be an attempt to manage a world-altering truth? If humanity's origins, history, and technological development are tied to an intelligence from the stars, the answers may lie buried within these protected archives. Are we looking at a technology we built in secret, or are we catching glimpses of the same silent observers that have watched our civilization rise from the dust? When a military sensor tracks an unidentified object, the immediate response of any government is to secure the data. This reflex stems from the standard operating procedures of national security. In the arena of defense, any anomalous radar return or visual sighting must first be treated as a potential threat or a foreign intelligence asset. Revealing what military sensors can see and how clearly they see it tells adversaries exactly how to bypass those same defenses. Because of this, raw data about unexplained aerial events is automatically locked away. These measures protect the technical capabilities of advanced radar and camera systems. This pattern is not confined to the United States. Across the globe, major powers have quietly established departments to monitor and analyze anomalies. The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense operated a dedicated UFO desk for decades, cataloging thousands of sightings to determine if they posed a threat to British airspace. In France, the state-sponsored space agency established JAPAN, a scientific unit designed to investigate unexplained aerial phenomena under a strict protocol of official transparency. Chile's military formed its own official body to study these events, while Soviet and Russian defense agencies maintained silent, parallel monitoring programs. In each nation, the primary driver was the same: the defense of sovereign borders and the fear of falling behind in a secret aerospace arms race. Much of the secrecy surrounding these programs stems from the protection of experimental technology and standard intelligence tradecraft. During the Cold War, the Central Intelligence Agency estimated that over half of all UFO reports in the 1950s and 60s were actually misidentified flights of the highly classified U-2 and Oxcart spy planes. Operating under strict classification, governments actively encouraged the public to believe in flying saucers. This active deception kept domestic projects hidden from foreign spies while allowing public imagination to explain away the test flights, utilizing the UFO phenomenon as a convenient shield. Beyond tactical intelligence, bureaucratic inertia plays a significant role in keeping files hidden. Government databases are highly fragmented, split between competing military branches, intelligence agencies, and private defense contractors. No single department holds the entire picture. Files are misplaced, redacted, or buried in deep archives because of administrative friction and strict compartmentalization. Historically, Authorities also feared that acknowledging unexplained objects would trigger public hysteria or undermine confidence in the military's ability to protect its citizens. To admit that the skies are not fully under control is to admit a vulnerability. Keeping records classified is often a path of least resistance for risk-averse officials. Understanding these human and institutional motives explains why secrecy persists, but it does not resolve the core mystery. Official caution is different from a cover-up, yet it leaves a vacuum that speculation easily fills. If governments hide information to protect their borders and their technology, they also hide the small percentage of cases that genuinely defy explanation. If some of these military encounters represent something completely beyond known human capabilities, we are forced to look past the machinery of state secrecy. We must ask whether these persistent anomalies point to an origin story that predates our modern nations, our oldest laws, and perhaps even our species itself. If the answers are not hidden in government archives, the answers may be written directly into our biochemistry. For decades, scientists have investigated a hypothesis known as directed panspermia, the theory that life on Earth did not begin by random chance, but was intentionally seeded by an advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. Rather than relying on ancient myths or modern military sensor data, this concept treats the origin of life as a testable biological question. To move this hypothesis from speculation to science requires a strict, responsible evidentiary threshold. For researchers to seriously consider an intentional origin, they would need to discover clear, non-terrestrial biosignatures. This could include an unusual genetic structure that operates on a completely different biochemical template than standard terrestrial DNA, or distinct isotopic anomalies in Earth's oldest organic rocks that match no known natural planetary process. Astrobiology explores how basic organic compounds might survive the harsh environment of space, but evolutionary biology explains the actual diversification of life on Earth. While space probes have confirmed that the basic building blocks of life exist on comets and asteroids, the fossil record shows a slow, natural progression from single-celled organisms to complex life. Mainstream science demonstrates that our biology is firmly rooted in terrestrial chemistry, leaving no physical trace of an engineered starting point. This leaves the seeding hypothesis as an intriguing, yet entirely unverified possibility. It shifts our gaze from unidentified objects in the sky to the molecular structure of our own cells. If an advanced civilization did intentionally seed our world, it raises a fundamental question of motive. What was the purpose behind this cosmic inheritance? And what does it mean for our future if we finally decipher the message? The persistent uncertainty surrounding these phenomena actively shapes human culture, long before we ever secure a definitive answer. Whether these anomalies represent visitors from another world or classified terrestrial technology, the stories we tell about them have real-world power. They influence modern religious beliefs, inspire new forms of spirituality, and alter how the public views scientific authority and government institutions. These narratives directly impact our attitudes toward national security and the regulation of our skies. When we ask why humanity exists, or if our development was guided by design, we find ourselves at the absolute limit of physical evidence. Present data cannot verify the purpose behind our origins. Yet this unresolved mystery serves a larger function. It forces us to examine who we trust, how we govern advanced technologies, and how we react to the unexplained. This search is more than an effort to identify anomalous objects. It remains an open inquiry into the nature of human curiosity, keeping our eyes turned toward the cosmos, forever questioning our place among the stars. We stand at the edge of our own history, looking upward. The mystery is no longer just about lights in the sky. It is about who we are and where we began. If we were seeded by the cosmos, what is our purpose? Until the secrecy ends, we remain blind to our own origins. What do you believe? Share your thoughts in the comments.